She's a blue jean baby with her hat down low, chasing that wild wind wherever it blows, flying through the night just as fast as she can go. Yeah, it's one right, two left, riding like hell round that clover leaf pattern that she knows so well, sitting just right with the reins in her hands underneath the bright lights, chasing in pins. She's one of those nobody knows out making some noise. Yeah, she's a dark horse.
I have two beautiful guests in this episode, Brittany Diaz and Tammy Fisher. I've known Tammy for many, many, many years. I met Brittany last year, and she is a lovely person, and we're just going to talk a little bit about how they found their special horses. Both gals have been here to the national finals many times. So Brittany, you're here this year, but not for yourself. You are here though with your husband Isaac.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about him, and then I want you to talk about Rudy, your little black mare. And her name is Rudy, which I was thinking R-U-D-Y, but you said it's got a whole nother meaning.
Yeah, when Rudy was a baby, until now, she still does it to me. She roots her nose really bad, and you can't really be in the front of her. She actually, here at the finals, about knocked Isaac down a couple times in the alleyway in the holding pen.
Oh,
but
my gosh.
yeah, the name suits her really well. This is Isaac's 5th trip here, and he's came in sitting 4th. Round 1 underway right now, or was up last night, and he was 1 out of placing, but we're hoping for a good rest of the
Are
finals.
you more nervous watching Isaac or for yourself?
I get way more nervous watching Isaac. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's out of my control.
Yeah,
At
you
least
can't
when I'm
help
with
it.
my horse, I can kind of control the outcome a little bit,
Yeah.
but really nervous. We purchased Rudy as a weanling. I think I was a junior in high school. We purchased her as a weanling.
So how's she bred? Like, I'm big on the bloodlines of them. I
Okay.
like to know.
She is cow bred on the mare side, and her dad she's sired by Texas High Dasher, which goes back to Anna High.
I do remember that.
So yes, and his colts, there's quite a few. I know Jana Isaac used to run, hers was out of Texas High Dasher as well, the one that she had won her circuit on. And there's just not a ton of them, but a lot of them have had success. So
Okay.
I'm
So
pretty
there
proud.
was a reason for buying her.
Yes, and I actually own quite a few of her half siblings now because the Texas High Dasher's not around anymore and stuff. But we purchased her as a weanling, and I took her to college with me for a college course when she was 2 and broke her to ride. It's kind of an incredible thing. We paid $800 for Rudy as a baby. She is 16 now. Is coming
Oh,
16.
wow.
And as a 4-year-old, I had to send her home, and we bred her. She liked to buck and was not an easy horse to be around. There was
So
no
she
way.
was a brood mare before she was a rodeo horse.
She really was. She was not ready.
That's backwards.
Maybe it was my breaking skills. I don't know. But she went home for a little bit, and then I took her back to college with me when she was 5 and started her on the pattern. She never ran the barrels until she was 7.
Oh,
and,
wow.
She won her first jackpot I ever took her to. She outran my college mare. I kept taking her from there. We used to hit a lot of barrels, so it took me a little bit to get her because she really wanted to rate and turn. Kind of went on from there. I used to work after I graduated college, I used to work at a bank, and I worked there for 3.5 years. I did get talked in to buying my permit, which back then it was a huge deal for me to be a part of the Women's Professional Rodeo Association because I thought I was riding with the big dogs then and stuff. And I actually grew up watching you guys and stuff, so it was a huge deal for me to be able to buy my permit. And we actually went to North Platte, Nebraska. It was my first pro rodeo, and we ended up winning 3rd, so I filled my permit at 1 rodeo, bought my card that year and just circuit rodeoed. And we ended up just circuit rodeoing, qualifying for the big winter rodeos. And Lisa Lockhart and I are good friends, and it was her that got me going and told me that I had a really nice horse and that I should go try. So I traveled down to the winter rodeos with Lisa in 2010.
So when did you actually decide, I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to rodeo hard and fast? When did you decide that?
I decided that after the winter run. I never went to California or anything that year. I went back home and I worked for another month and was really thinking about it. And, it's always been my dream as a little girl to be able to, I've had a passion for horses. I've always wanted to, but was never, able to do it and make a living at it. I finally knew at that time that my horse was good enough. She had outrun a lot of the horses that I had watched on TV the year prior. I knew I either had to take her myself or sell her because I was getting quite a bit of offers on her. And she's kind of like my kid and was at that time because I had done everything with her. So I decided at that point that I would take Rudy and quit my job and went on with it. That year was incredible, but you know, when you first start out, there's a lot of things traveling that you need to ask a lot of questions, because when you first start out in these
And it has to
deals-
be the right person you ask.
Yes. Ulcers was just coming to be a big thing at that time. I was sitting 12th in the world, which was better than I had ever imagined. Rudy was running incredible. I mean, opportunities, doors were opening, and she started to get a little thin on me. And I was young. I didn't know. I had never traveled like that before. I actually had her on a compounded omeprazole at that time that a vet had given me. Lesson learned. Sometimes saving money is going to cost you more.
Oh, for sure.
So-
That's well said.
Oh man, yeah. So I went home that year. Actually, Rudy went home. She got real sick on me in Caldwell. I actually had hookered IVs, and she was bleeding so bad internally they couldn't even see them in the scope.
Oh my gosh.
So we sent her home, and I tried leasing horses, borrowing horses, which in hindsight, I just would have went home with my horse and regrouped, because mentally, I mean, this is a big head game out here, we all know.
And there's
Oh, man.
nothing as good as your own horse.
There isn't, and you know, she was young enough at that time. I should have just went home and regrouped, but that dream of the finals for the first time
And you get
was
so
actually
wrapped
looking-
up in the deal, you think, it's me, it's me, it's me, I can do it. But really, in hindsight, it's
It's horse,
you
horse,
and your
horse.
horse.
Oh,
It's you
man.
and your horse, it's the team.
And I do have to tell this one funny story, because Tammy, I'm very conservative. I'm a conservative person, and so Tammy would be there and we'd talk about the futurities. And we were at an early futurity at Lazy E, which is a massive arena, and we have these young horses, and back then they hadn't run very many times by the time we get to Lazy E. And there's a mile between the first barrel and the wall. And Tammy's cute little horse named Charlie blows by the first, not a little bit.
A lot.
A lot.
A lot.
And so we talked about it at dinner that evening. And so the next day, and she said, I'm just going to back up and go faster from the back. And I'm like, oh my
Dana's
God.
like, no, you need to ease up
I'm
there
like-
further and slow down. I'm like, no.
No, he
I
won't.
need to start further back so he can see it coming.
So she did. She gets as far back as she can go and
And
comes
goes faster.
as she can go. And the little turkey turned the barrel. And I was just like, oh my gosh, look at that. Oh my gosh. Anyway, my point to the story is fearless rider, which I am amazed at people because I'm so conservative. And so that was
I ran the fastest time of the futurity.
of the whole futurity. And
Yeah.
that was your first futurity year.
That was my first futurity
Okay,
year.
so
I
yeah.
ended up winning second.
Okay, so let's backtrack a little bit. Prior to Charlie, you were a school teacher. So tell us how you came to be horse trainer only.
I taught school for 3 years. It wasn't intentional, but it was the fastest way to college. The college education, the fastest way out was a teaching degree, and I'm an overachiever. So once I started college, I had to finish. So I have a master's degree in education. So I taught school for 3 years, absolutely hated it. I had more outside horses so I was making more teaching horses than I was teaching school. And
That's so
I
sad
had
in our country, but so true.
I had a baby that was 2, so I had 3 full-time jobs. So one of them had to go, so it was an easy choice. I quit teaching. Although I was a nervous wreck, I thought, oh my God,
How am I going to eat?
guaranteed paycheck over horses that people could take at any time. So I quit in '93. I have never gone back, ever. Okay, so I trained for 13 years and loved it. Had lots of outside horses, had everything going right. And then I had this really great horse. And I futuritied him all year, did better on him than I'd ever done on any horse. But the deal with futurity horses is you train them, just like you do, and you sell them.
They go.
You futurity as a 5-year-old, you get them seasoned, and they go. So at the end of the year, it was time to make that decision. Do you sell him or do you keep him? And there was no way I was selling him. No way, ever. Round Pen had to stay at our house. And he was mine by accident. He had hurt my sister.
Badly, not a little bit.
Badly.
Her pelvis was crushed. I remember
She
that.
ran him at the first 2 futurities, and they were having a few issues, and she was training on him and wasn't getting along with him, and he flipped over backwards on her and landed on her, and then he rolled across her, and it crushed her pelvis.
Yeah.
So she had an external fixator with 6 pins out the front, and she has 4 bolts in her back, and maybe was never going to walk again. didn't walk for 6 months. And so he was entered in a futurity like 7 days later. I'd never, ever been on him. So I went and got him, took him to Lazy E, same place.
Oh my gosh.
Same place. And placed in both rounds. Not great, but good. I had other futurity horses, and you know, for a jump ride, it was good. And kept riding him. And as the year went, I won a check at every single futurity he was entered in. Hit barrels, didn't always win in the average, but got better and better.
But both of these horses, which this is the kind of thing I just love, you could have sold it, but maybe given its background, it would have tried to kill somebody. Same with Round Pen.
Same with Round
I
Pen.
find that story with, and I have a few at my house like that I'm just going to keep, because I feel like, you know, in a way they're great. They are great horses. But with someone else,
They might not have
they
been.
might not. They might not just be not great. They might be a little bit dangerous.
Well, Jackie took him back in September. 6 months later, when she was better, she took him back for about 2 weeks and hated him, had a grudge against him. She just hated him.
Yeah.
She hated to touch him, to look at him, to anything. But he'd done so good, how could you not ride him when you're a barrel racer and he's winning? She ran him at 2 jackpots. She called me and said, come get him. I hate him. He's yours. Ride him. You know, he belonged to my mom and dad, so he was family horse. He was given to us by a family friend. I ran him till he was 17. He's 20 now. Perfectly sound, perfectly good. My daughter rides him. She'll run him just as soon as she's ready to. But still, if he goes to the vet, there's a horse that goes with him because he paces and he won't be by himself. Dad put hobbles on him. Dad did everything. This sucker's gonna stand by himself. I'm like, okay, he's won enough. It's somebody's job to babysit him. He does not have to stand by himself. He likes the bigger outdoor stuff. And I was married to a team roper at the time that went all the time and had made the NFR a few times, so it was just easier to all go together. And I had no intentions of making the NFR. I was just going to go for 6 weeks because I had a futurity business still. I still train futurity horses for a living.
Yeah.
I had 20 horses at the house, and you know, it's the same thing as quitting your teaching job.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn these horses out for 6 weeks, and I'm going to pray that they don't send all my job
To
some
someone
other
else.
trainer, and when I come home, there's nothing left to
Yeah.
do. And I went for 6 weeks, and I won. And you're like, oh my God, my name is in the standings.
Okay, so both of you girls have been here. You have both have and still have that dream of a lifetime horse. So what I want to know is, when you got to your first NFRs, when did the moment I have arrived hit you? You can go first, Tammy.
When you're driving into Vegas, and we came and it was almost dark, and you turn the corner out there and you see the lights of Vegas, and you're like, oh my God, I'm here. All the lights are on and they're just for me. That's it. That's it. You see all those lights, and it's like the bright lights in the big city, and you're like, oh, and the goosebumps come, and I mean, that's it. That's it. You're
so
there.
cool.
Yeah.
How about you? When did it hit you?
Mine was actually really similar. I didn't come at night, but when we came, I think it was at I-15 from Salt Lake. We came down that way, and as we were coming over the hill into Las Vegas, my now husband made it worse for me because he started playing Elvis's Viva Las Vegas on the radio, or on our CD player, whatever, in the pickup as we were coming over and seeing Las Vegas, and then panic mode kind of set in. I'm like, oh my gosh, we get to compete here for 10
It's
days.
real.
I have a horse. Usually we come here without a horse. My horse is with me.
So when you guys are, when you're in your first alley, what'd that feel like? Like, did you you train futurity horses, you'd been to amateur rodeos, but nothing looks like this.
No.
So like when you're going down the alley, as you're waiting, it's going to be your turn. What are you thinking?
Usually, the more you run him, the better he gets. And I knew the first run was going to be the hardest because he's so timid and so intimidated by the people and the walls. So I growl when I run, and I have to ride hard, and I have to do all those things. And I thought, if I can get through the first round, it's going to get better every night.
Gosh, you put this rodeo on such a pedestal every year prior to making it, and when you finally get to be here, I guess I was thinking, gosh, everybody back home. I was the first one from North Dakota to ever make the finals,
Oh,
so
I
I knew
didn't
like
know
the
that.
whole state was watching, and it was a huge deal. Like, I put this rodeo so high on a pedestal. I, on the other hand, unlike Tammy, my horse is a nut in the alleyway. So I was just dreading this. The flag girls, they do the flags, and the chuck wagon goes in the arena right before the barrel racing. And I came in, I think I was 12th that year, so I had to be way up front. I was like the 4th girl out that night. Those flag girls came out in that chuck wagon, and my only thought was hold on, because she was spinning
wipe
circles.
everybody out on the way up.
And she tried, and I was hanging on and trying to like hold her and calm her down. Everything that I do at home, I never take her up to the arena until prior to my, like when they say I'm next up on deck, that is when I start walking up to the arena. I never make her stand there.
Right.
So,
And
And
you
then
don't
she's
have
stuck in that at this place.
So
And
just
with
everything
this,
was-
you don't have a choice, because, like she said, when the chuck wagon goes in and those flag girls go in, they line you up. And if you're number 1 that night, you're down in that box. And then they line up all 15 girls. So we have to stand there. You're there for a good 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And a barrel horse is not used to standing.
No.
And they learn what that box is, and they learn when that gate's going to swing open. And you know, you can't turn around because the horse right there is beside you, and the horse right there is beside you. You can't have a buddy horse.
And
You
there have
can't
been
have
many
any
an
of that.
accident back there.
Oh man.
Yes.
And they have you on a time. So like if you're not ready, I mean there's people down there, they're yelling at you. I made it back for my second time, and I told myself when we were coming to Las Vegas, because my first trip wasn't what I had made it out to be, I told myself I was gonna have fun regardless. We worked hard all year. I mean, it is a journey to make it to the NFR. So I knew I deserved to be here. I wasn't gonna let anybody else. I mean, nowadays we have that great Facebook and social media.
Oh, yeah.
And in 2011, I actually had people telling me, messaging me things to try with my horse, changing
Oh.
bits, how to ride her, and I'd been the only one on her. So I, you know, but at that point you're broke down where you let it get to you. So last year when I came, I actually had a friend who did my social media stuff for me. My husband wouldn't let me have my phone on me.
So you couldn't look at
so
that
I didn't
stuff.
look at it, and I
Yeah.
had a blast, and we came in 5th place, and we left in 5th place, and it was the best year. Everything just went smooth. I enjoyed it. My horse worked. I mean, we hit barrel one night, and prior to that, I think I hit barrel 7 of the 10 rounds in 2011.
Oh my gosh.
I hit a barrel the second round last year, and it was due to my horse slipping and hitting
Yeah.
the barrel. So it was one of those deals where, you
Yeah.
know, second time was a charm, and it's when you make it here, you gotta take it in and enjoy it.
The first time I came was amazing. I won 5 rounds, I won second in a round, and the other 4 I hit barrels. And I thought when I left I should never try to do this again, because I don't think it will ever get any better. I did, of course. I made it 6 times. I've never done that well again. One year, I had Brittany's first year. Grandpa got crippled when I got here. I brought 3 horses. One had never been to a rodeo ever. She was
Oh
a
my
colt that I
gosh.
brought along, and I placed a round on her.
Oh,
I
wow.
won last hole on her, but I ran her one time. I quit her because I'm like, oh my God, she'll blow up if I run her again.
NFR.
I ended up riding 5 horses, 2 were borrowed. I got a no time on one. It was my sister's, and he ducked and went out the alley. So I'm the epitome of what you can do wrong at the NFR. I have done it all right. I have done it all wrong. I've done it both ways. I never had only the last year I was here did I have the social media like that. But you have friends calling and offering you all this advice, and then you get home and you think, I won $36,000.
Why do I feel like I didn't do well?
Exactly. I'll just stick with my plan, and I'll go with it, because at the end of the day, $36,000, I'm still good.
That's a lot
I'm
of
still
money. All year long, I take care of my horse. I know what's best for her. I've been on her all year, and I know what I do all year. So when I came out here to Las Vegas the second time, I came out here and I did what I did all year long. I don't keep her out there at the stalls where everyone else is. I went and did my own thing. Was going against myself. I knew what my horse was capable of. She had outrun these horses at one point or the other throughout the year, and that she definitely deserved to be here. We both deserve to be here.
And you stuck
that
with
she
your
could-
game plan.
stuck
Yes,
with your
I
plan,
did.
did your plan, and
Yes,
it worked.
we did. It was incredible, and it was fun. That was the big thing.
Yeah.
We got to remember to have fun doing this,
True.
right?
So, I keep looking at this, which I've been choking back tears because Riley was little, my kids were little. When we went to the futurities, we rented golf carts and let our kids ride them around at the futurities, and they got in trouble together, and they were good kids. But anyway, I keep seeing this, so tell me what this is for. This says Riding for Riley.
We have a scholarship fund. We didn't get to send Riley to school. So in lieu of flowers, it started just as a one-time thing, and it has taken on a life of its own. So once a year we have a scholarship barrel race. It's in April. It will be the 15th, 16th, and 17th this year. It's in Giddings. We have about 500 barrel racers, 3 days in a row. We've given $125,000 in scholarships in the past 6 years. So we give about 20 scholarships a year, about $1,000 a piece to 20 different kids every year. And so we're helping other kids go to school since we didn't get to send our kid.
All right, last question of the day. Would you do it again?
Absolutely, in a heartbeat. When it was easy the first time, Riley loved to travel with me. He went with me all the time. The first year I left him home was the year I lost him. He was wanting to stay home with his college friends, and him and his three roommates, they died together. And so I lost him that way. And so now I have a different appreciation for life, and Sydney is just 5 and she doesn't want to travel. And so I won't leave her home to do this because life's too valuable. So I will wait till she's older, and when she's ready for me to go, then I'll go again and I'll do what I want, but until then I'll wait on her.
How about you, Brittany?
I would definitely do it again. I still have Rudy. I am going to try again next year. I have a couple other horses behind her that are doing great. I mean, this is what we live to do.
Plus, your hubby does it
Yes. And
successfully, so you can do that together.
That is the cool thing, is Isaac and I actually see each other. This year with my horses getting hurt already in July, I saw my husband less with me being home than when we were on the road.
Yeah.
We got to run into each other places, and of course, I know I'm going to be back here again someday, and I'm going to work my butt off, same way as everybody else is right now, until I have that other horse.